This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I are breaking down the NFL awards. We break down each award. Did that player deserve it? Are there any shockers? And then we also talk about the Super Bowl. We break down the game inside and out. We talk about our predictions and who will come out on top. And will Taylor Swift win a Super Bowl? Who knows? And then we finish up by talking about the NBA All-Star Game. Did we agree with the teams? Yes or no? And so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and we are here in a warm February. And I'm not just saying it because I'm in Hungary and it's like almost 55 degrees every single day. Josh is in Ohio and it's also like really warm. So Josh, I don't know about you, but this weather is giving me weird jives because I'm worried that means it's going to be a late winter into like late March and early April. I don't know about you, but that's what it gives me.
Didn't Puxatawny Phil not see his shadow, which means winter's only 4 weeks longer or something like that?
It scares me.
Yeah, so we're maybe it's here sooner, but yeah, we are veterans of the Midwest and know that can't possibly be
no way.
The end of all the cold. We're gonna get teased here a little bit, and then but either way, 50 degrees a couple days ago,
I don't mind
60 degrees yesterday and today over here.
Well, it is kind of funny because I was at football practice. I was telling you this before the show that it was like 49 degrees at football practice. And I'm wearing shorts, and guys are looking at me like, "Dude, you're nuts." And I'm like, "Dude, it's 49 degrees and not even midway through February. Of course, I'm wearing shorts." Like,
yeah, it's the equivalent of 70-degree summer day.
Exactly. But that is the fun of being in the Midwest. I think you just kind of enjoy these kind of days. But speaking of Midwest, speaking of football, Josh, there's been some awards given out, some Hall of Fame announcements given out. Shall we jump into maybe some touchy areas for some fan bases in the NFL awards that I think people are a little upset about?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fan bases upset about the MVP selection, and I am surprised not by the winner, but by how it was almost unanimous.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, 49 of 50 first place votes, takes that award, and I know Brock Purdy got some votes. Josh Allen got the one other first place vote. Christian McCaffrey is up there, who I would have voted for.
Yeah.
What was your reaction seeing this?
I was a little shocked that, like you said, it was close to unanimous. I just didn't feel like Lamar was like head and shoulders above everyone. Like I felt like if anything, Christian McCaffrey did something almost unprecedented the way he again is proving to be just a unicorn at the running back position. But it just, to me, it was like one of those years where I felt like should have been really, really close. Like I felt like one of those years where it could have been like all four guys got close to a tie. So for me, I just feel like maybe Lamar got he was on the best regular season team. He didn't really have a terrible game this year. He didn't really have a terrible stretch, but still, that doesn't mean you're the most valuable player. And if I look, Christian McCaffrey is pretty much up there as the most valuable player to his team. And even if you look at Josh Allen, like he kind of saved the Bills season in a sense. So I don't know. Again, that's just my opinion. I felt like it was a little too close to being unanimous for my liking.
Yeah, obviously Lamar's second MVP award, but Christian McCaffrey had over 2,000 total yards and 21 touchdowns to it.
That's just ridiculous.
Running back over at San Francisco and an offense that already is pretty loaded, but was still able to put up numbers like that. I think the dude, that's who I would have picked, but Christian McCaffrey did come out with the offensive player of the year,
which is really funny. Isn't it really funny though how they do that? Where like they don't give the MVP because like in the NCAA football, right? Like most of the time, the best player gets the best offensive award. I just think it's really funny in the NFL where they're like, "Hey, you might be the best player. We're excluding you from the fact that you're not the best offensive player," which is really weird for me.
Right.
It's like
Lamar Jackson's an offensive player. He wasn't the best offensive player, but he's somehow the most valuable.
Like,
right.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, so that offensive player always seems to be like the MVP of the non-quarterbacks, I guess.
Like the fans. It's basically like the fan MVP that they all want.
Yeah, this is the one where it's like it's a running back or a wide receiver. It's,
of course,
a Michael Thomas or a Tyreek Hill or this year Christian McCaffrey kind of thing.
And we all thought Tyreek Hill was going to be the MVP, and then we all knew like, hey, a receiver can't keep up what he was doing. and it
Yeah,
proved me
he
right
just
again.
it was the case the year before his first year in Miami. I was like, this guy's gonna go over 2,000 yards and like
Just you can't.
25 touchdowns,
Just
and then it
hard.
just eventually slowed down. Yeah, but I like McCaffrey as offensive player. I think if you're, I mean, Tyreek Hill was the next man up. He had almost 1,800 yards, but no issues with that one on offensive player. Defensive player, this is
This
when we
is the
start
one.
getting into
This is the one
that.
where people are mad.
This is the one where you start getting up to the team in Northeast Ohio. That would
Oh
be
man,
Miles
domination.
Garrett.
Domination.
Miles Garrett, Defensive Player
Deserved.
of the
Well
Year, and
deserved.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't think it'd happen. Uh, I mean, as much as I love
Well,
Miles, he was not even top five in the league in
well,
sacks this year.
I think this is the first time, Josh, that we're seeing an award won not just based on numbers. This might be the first time I've ever looked at an NFL award and going, they're not just looking at the numbers. Because if you look at the numbers, yeah, TJ Watt should have walked away with it, right? Like if you look at the numbers and you, or even Micah Parsons, right? Like, but I think this is the first year where they looked at a defensive player and said, like, dude, the freaking Tennessee Titans were shadowing two dudes on him while he's moving across the defense. Oh, he's getting triple teamed like every single time. Like I think when you think of defensive players, yeah, it's about the sacks, but I think they also viewed it this year like what difference does he make in a game? Does he pull off people from blocking or whatever? So did I see it coming? No. Would I be excited if he won it? Of course. But I do think this gave me some hope in the NFL awards system that maybe they do still see the value in a player that is overall best player, not just someone that goes gets 20 sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, not top five in sacks, not top five in tackles for loss. Still comes out the award. So yeah, maybe there is a little bit of that. They're starting to look at the way that defensive players play a little bit differently.
I mean,
Maybe
TJ Watt was mad.
oh, I bet. Yeah, you come out with a season like he did and still
The- There's
don't
some
come up with that.
there's some Steelers fans here in Europe that are not happy that think that he got robbed. I'm like, dude, just be a Steelers fan, right?
Yeah. That is Miles' first time winning the award. I
Yeah,
believe TJ
deserved
won it a
though.
couple years ago
Yeah,
for the first time, and other people that were in the running were Micah Parsons and Max Crosby, and I think Deron Bland also got some
yeah.
votes. Um, let's see here. Yeah, Jersey Jerry from Barstool is like, this is another NFL rig job. Imagine looking at this and it's like a graphic of all the stats from TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, and Miles Garrett and giving it to the guy on the left because he's never won it before.
That's not that's not how it works. Like I like even if I wasn't a Browns fan, like if you're a true football fan, Josh, I feel like if you go watch his highlights like of every game, like you will see how dominant he is. I mean, how many times, Josh, did we talk on this show of how he almost gets a sack? Like the amount of times he's literally got 4 or 5, 6 pressures in a game, and I just look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being like, I'm happy for Miles Garrett, but I'm trying to see it as like maybe the NFL is finally looking at past just sack numbers because it's like MLB, right? A guy can have 60 home runs, but if he's hitting 195 and he's got, a ton of strikeouts, what's the value? How much of a value is there? So again, that's how I view it. Now I could be
Micah
completely wrong.
Micah Parsons came out on Twitter and said that that was a horrible take and that fans need to stop looking at stats and watch the film because of all the extra double teams he faced. So take that for what it's worth.
Ben Bowden is a D line genius. You count it right here, stated right here.
All right, so we got our offensive player of the year, our defensive player of the year, our MVP. Let's move to the rookies now, and this was a
Obvious.
Houston Texans sweep, and yeah, I think
Obvious.
obvious choice too. CJ Stroud with the offensive rookie of the
Ohio
year. He
State.
also he also received a couple votes at MVP too, but this was yeah, there wasn't really anyone else that was going to come close. I mean,
Did
Puka Nakua was going to be in the discussion at
kind of
least, but
close, yeah.
Stroud was just so good, and what he added to the Houston Texans this year, leading them to the playoffs, is just like you can't not pick him.
No, and I'll read you a stat, Josh, and I think you'll think this is quite fascinating if I can find it here. Um, it's it's very interesting to me. Since 2016, Josh, Joey Bosa has won the Rookie of the Year defensively. Marshawn Lattimore won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Nick Bosa won Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2019. Chase Young won it in 2020. Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2022, and now CJ Stroud. That is now 6 players in the last 8 years that have won it from Ohio State, which is developed here. I think this allows them to have that more on their blackboards when you go through the Woody. I think it's a little more allowing that to happen a little bit more, which I think is good for recruiting.
Yeah, couple of highlights from Stroud's season. He beat Dak Prescott's record for the
Yep.
most passes to start a career without an interception. 470 yards in a game, the most by a rookie in a game now. I believe his touchdowns also a record for rookies in a season. His 4,108 passing yards is the third best total in history for a first year player as well.
I mean, just a great, great quarterback. And both of us had him at QB1, and I think he proved us right.
For sure.
The one time Josh and I are right at the same time.
And then defensive rookie of the year, his teammate and third overall pick right after him, Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah. I don't
Not
really
too
think there was
many.
anybody else, was there? There wasn't really anybody else that stood out this year, I
That's
feel
what I
like,
was
defensively.
thinking is like as far as the defensive players go, is just the rookies. I mean, all the high picks that I can recall. I mean, not that they all sucked. It's just I don't think they all came out and were as impressive as Will, or like on a team that had as much
Yeah, it's true.
success as Will.
Yeah.
Some of the other players that got votes, let's see, Anderson got 16 first place votes, narrowly beating out Jalen Carter over at the Eagles.
I guess that, yeah, I guess he
And
was
then
there too.
Kobe Turner from the Rams was another one. But yeah, Will Anderson, let me go ahead and get some numbers up here for Mr. Anderson so we can talk about his season. Not that numbers is all that matters, as we just said with Myles Garrett, but give you an idea of what kind of season he had. Let's see. Will Anderson. All right, 29 solo tackles, 7 sacks.
That's actually that's pretty good for your first
For your
season.
first year, yeah. I don't know what that ranked among like the other rookies. I'm just looking at ESPN stats, but yeah, I mean, 29 solo tackles, 7 sacks to start a career off. You got to be feeling pretty good about that pick and what he could be on that defense in years to come.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, now we're gonna move on to Coach of the Year back up in Northeast Ohio,
Oh,
Ben, and
oh, the
it's
chilly north.
Kevin Stefanski.
Stefanski. Actually, it's very funny because I think many people thought D'Amico Ryans, right? I think if you asked the media, I think they didn't want to say Stefanski. I think they wanted to say D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryan's definitely had the best turnaround from what the team did last year to
Oh yeah,
this
for
year.
sure.
But
Not even
I
close.
think I think in terms of doing the most with the least, when you look at all the adversity that went on in Cleveland, and I mean they went through 5 quarterbacks, Ben.
Yeah,
This was a team that should not have been
that's a
winning
lot of
11 games
quarterbacks.
and making the playoffs, but they went ahead and did that. And as critical as we've been of Kevin Stefanski in the past, I think
We
this is
have.
evidence of his best coaching job yet, and I would say rightfully deserved.
I mean, you
You
look
could
at
throw Dan Campbell in the mix too, winning
yeah,
12 games in Detroit, taking them as far as he did, but I think this was Kevin's award.
yeah. I mean, you just look. I mean, what 2021 and 2023? That's 2 awards in 5 years and 4 years. Sorry. So like to me, I think he's if he hasn't proven it to Cleveland's fans yet, I think he has to. I think this has to prove it to them, right? You would say, like, I feel like if we have any doubts with him, I feel like that this should sort of sum up at least for now. Like this dude just won with 5 quarterbacks. How many high school teams, Josh, have you watched that could win games with 5 quarterbacks? Not many. Not
I
many.
mean, yeah, there's not usually many that got to go through that, but if they did, yeah, it'd be disaster. Even at that level where they don't even necessarily have the best arm, but they're just experienced, smart, and
Yeah.
athletic, and you see the next
Still,
kid
yeah.
come in, it's just like, oh yeah, they're done
Oh
for.
boy. Yeah. But no, I do think it's great though. I think that he deserved it. Again, I think Dan Campbell deserved it as well, but I think you just look at like, dude, 5 quarterbacks, no Nick Chubb, no offensive tackles,
No offensive line,
no,
yeah.
no defense at times. Like guys getting hurt, and it's just like this guy never lost his cool. Like every press conference, he's like, "No, we feel like we're in a good place." I'm like, "Feel like you're in a good place." Dude, the average Joe would be freaking out right now. His fantasy team's crumbling. Like, but he's just like, no, we're good. No, we're good. We're chill. I'm just like, all
Yeah.
right, we got you.
And speaking of coaching too, I believe Jim Schwartz was also named
He
the
did a clean
assistant of the
sweep,
year as well. Yeah.
sweep for Cleveland.
Yeah. Defense was interesting this year. It was definitely improved. I had my complaints about their time showing up in some of the big moments, but it was, I mean, Browns fans know what the defenses looked like under
Yeah.
Joe Woods, and I think we'll take this version with Jim Schwartz over that any day.
Oh, I will take the Jim Schwartz version over a lot of the versions of the Browns defense over the last
Yeah,
decade, for sure.
for real. For real, for real. And then finally wrapping it up, Joe Flacco, comeback player of
Thank
the
you.
year.
Thank you, NFL.
Yes.
I want to stop right here and just say thank you for not doing what Josh and I would have had to rant. We would have to rant for about a half hour on it. Thank you for looking at what is happening on the field, not what's happening in the world of politics outside of football. And you got it right. Thank you.
Yeah.
You
I
got
can't
it right.
remember what group or organization named DeMar Hamlin the comeback player of the year. That obviously wasn't like the real deal, but it was just still like, oh geez, if this is what they're thinking. I wonder what the
And
real
I know
NFL
Joe,
writers are
and I know
thinking.
Joe said like DeMar deserved it, but I think that was more of him like he didn't want to be like that guy. I think that's
Hmm.
like, no, I deserve it. But Joe
Yeah.
did deserve it. He really did.
DeMar did get the most first place votes, but Joe had a lot of other supporting votes to push him ahead at first. So well done, NFL award votes. Ben, I'd say out of all of these, really the only one we had an issue with was Lamar at MVP. I think most
Yeah.
years we might have complaints about more than that, but I think they got basically all of
Yeah.
them right.
I do. And I think that makes it easier. And I think what they also got right is what you're going to talk about next, because I think that this Hall of Fame class is a special one. I think a pretty good one too.
Yeah, we got a player in here that normally would not be in most Hall of Fame classes, but we're gonna get to why he deserves that. The Hall of Fame class, yes. So highlighting the charge is some of the best pass rushers of our day, Julius Peppers and Dwight Freeney. I think everybody would be in agreement there. Patrick Willis, while his career was short, probably the
Freak.
best linebacker in football when he was playing. And then you got Devin Hester. Devin Hester, Ben, Hall of Famer. He's been on the ballot, I think, for a little bit. Probably the best. No, I'm not going to say probably. I'm going to say the best returner the NFL has ever seen, and we're never going to see another
The
one
only
like
one that
him
ever
because
got
of the way they
close was
kick
Josh
off.
Cribbs. Josh
Yeah,
Cribbs was the only one that got close. That was the
yeah,
only one.
yeah. You got that category with Devin Hester, Josh Cribbs, and then you got like maybe a Dante Hall, and then it's
Oh,
basically
Patterson from Falcons. He actually is not bad. He was not a bad returner in his heyday.
yeah. It's just that the way that the rules are set now with
Yeah, it's a little easy. It's
kickoffs,
a little,
you're
yeah,
never gonna see someone do what Devin Hester did again,
106-yard return.
unfortunately. Never gonna see it. Yeah. The kickoff return to kick off the Super Bowl back in
That was awesome. I
2016,
remember
Colts
watching that.
Bears. Yeah. I'm glad that they got that one. And then filling out the modern era, Andre Johnson had a lot of of seasons on bad teams, some of those old Houston Texans teams that weren't that
Deserved it
great,
though.
but super consistent, always right up there with everyone else in yards and catches, despite his team not necessarily enjoying the most
Fights
success. But
cornerbacks. Fights
fights Cortland
cornerbacks.
Finnegan. Yep, love it. You don't mess with Andre Johnson, but I like that one. Then filling out the class, a couple older
Former
selections.
Buckeye.
Randy Gradishar
Buckeye.
from last played in '83, and then you got Steve McMichael who retired in '94.
Because Josh totally knows who both those guys are.
I don't. Maybe our dads do though.
I'm
Maybe your
sure they
guys
do.
listening's dads know.
That is true. That is
Not
true.
I, but they will be enshrined August
Is
3rd in
it
Canton.
is it weird, Josh, that we are now looking at like players getting inducted in the Hall of Fame that we grew up watching? Is it weird for you now? Like that we're starting is now it's like really truly like guys that we grew
Yeah.
up watching.
Oh yeah. I remember being like 14 and I was finally seeing guys inducted in the Hall of Fame that I had heard of, like Jerry
Yeah.
Rice and John Randall and guys like that. And now we're getting into like literally everybody that I watched growing
Yeah.
up.
Which
Not
is so
just
cool.
guys that were really good at football, but guys that I got to watch. Yeah. Also, probably the coolest thing about Julius Peppers, being a two-sport athlete at North Carolina, I think he's the only guy to play, what is it, in a Final Four and a Super Bowl,
That is
something like
awesome.
that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, not going to see many guys doing that.
Not many
But
guys in the Hall of Fame. I mean, not many guys in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I guess Tony Gonzalez was one that he was a
Tony
really good
Gonzalez
basketball
played both.
player.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a
Jim
couple
Thorpe,
Titans. Yeah. Antonio Gates played both ways. Jimmy Graham played both ways. It's really
yeah.
like, seems like a tight end thing.
Because it's
Too
like the
many
one
that,
position that you can like do it, and it's not like you're outsized in one sport or the other. You're kind of like the perfect size, you
yeah,
know.
might have something to do with it. But yeah, we see a lot of former basketball players become incredible tight ends. So,
Devin
Julius Peppers,
Hester.
by the way, not a tight end, defensive end. But yeah, Devin Hester, anything else to say about that guy?
I I think it's just really cool to finally see like truly a returner. Now I know he played defense and offense, but let's be honest, like he never was a threat necessarily, like to do a lot on the. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball occasionally, but he wasn't a guy that you're going to line up one on one, throw fades to. That's just not who he was. But I remember like every time he kicked, like when the kicker would kick to him, I would sit in my chair with my dad and go, "Why are they kicking?" Like there was the moments where I feel like special teams coaches and head coaches just got so stubborn that like we can stop Devin Hester. So like, hey, we're gonna kick at him. No, we're gonna punt it short so it bounces. Well, they don't realize Devin Hester does not care. He's gonna sprint 3 yards or 4 yards straight and grab the ball and then go 80 yards, right? I remember the one kick return or the punt return where it bounced like backwards sideways, and then he just like acts like he wasn't gonna like really pick it up and he grabs it and goes. And it's just like if you watch his college tape, it's the same thing. Like he would do the exact same thing. And then the Super Bowl one to me is just like if you're in the Super Bowl, like either boot that thing out of the back of the end zone or squib kick it. I don't care if it's the first drive of the game, first play of the game. Like to me, Devin Hester was the true definition of an X factor. I think you agree with me. Like he's the one guy where you're like, what really defines an X factor is a guy who changes the game within an instant, and that's who Devin Hester was.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about being stubborn, the Super Bowl kick, the Colts coaching staff has talked about how they were not going to be afraid of Devin Hester going into that game, and that's why they kicked initially. And then after that, they obviously ended up having a different mindset on that. But yeah, back in college, he was a defensive back, came up, and eventually made the switch to receiver in the NFL. But obviously, yeah, like you said, the impact was all in the return game. Patrick Willis is a guy I wish we could have watched more
Oh,
of,
dude. Oh,
and
I was hoping, man.
he was really one of those guys in that first wave of guys that were retiring early.
Yeah.
Because you've seen Luke Kuechly do it after him, Andrew Luck do it after him, and it's just like, man. And he wasn't even like those guys were all struggling with injuries. Pat wasn't
He was
really
healthy.
like,
Yeah, he was pretty healthy.
yeah, he just wanted to get in and get out while he's, I guess, still felt
Well, I
good
think
and
he got
functional and
like
go out on his own
yeah, I think
terms.
he got like his pension or whatever or something like that. He got like his years that he needed to
You got
like
to play 3 years, I think, to get
yeah.
that pension. So
But
yeah,
I think for
definitely played
him,
enough.
I I don't know about you, but this was the guy I always got on Madden. Dude, I would trade away like half my future on Madden just to get Patrick Willis as my linebacker. I would trade away
Not
two
me,
first round picks and I'd be like, that's going to be the star of my defense. And then I would also realize that, man, I could have used those picks for, like receivers and stuff like that because I was a Browns usually
right?
and had nothing. But no, Patrick Willis was amazing. Dwight Freeney to me will always be someone that is like just a fun guy to watch play. Like that spin move he had is just so deadly. And like, if you're Peyton, like, no wonder you're Peyton Manning loved that defense. You had Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney, Rob Sanders. Like, Peyton Manning was living the dream when he could just go play quarterback and the defense was just loaded with talent. So to me, I just think, and Julius Peppers, same thing, like a guy that I think we all admired of the way he did things and for the Bears, obviously, and the Panthers. And yeah, just a really, really cool class. And I think it's a unique class this year. There's not really a stud on the offensive side. Um, truly, I mean Andre Johnson, but no one that really stands out. It's really a defensive heavy class, which is really cool.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of how early Patrick Willis retired, he's not even 40 years old yet.
Oh my goodness, dude, he could still have been playing like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to see if I can find out
I
how
think it was
old he was
age
when he did retire.
29. Was it no 30? Something like that. 29, 30, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think he was 30 yet. Let me check. Yeah, 29 was his
Yeah,
last
that's what I
season.
thought. Yeah, he was under 30. I knew
And
he
that
wasn't.
was his first season that he only played 6 games. Everything else was like his first 2 years was
And
16
maybe
games.
that
Then it
was
was
and maybe that was like something that triggered in his head. He's like, "Oh, do I want to deal with this for the rest
yeah,
the rest of my
yeah,
career?"
because yeah, the first 3 seasons he played all 16, and then it was 15, 13, 16, 14. still most of them. And then yeah, that one season he only played 6 games, and he's like, all right, this is it. So
And again, when you make as much money as he did, and you've enjoyed the life, maybe it was time for him to switch up what he does.
yeah, heck of a career though, like we said, for the short time that we did get to watch him.
Yeah,
7 Pro Bowls,
freak, dude. That dude, that some of those
5 All
hits, man.
Pros. Yeah,
He was like, man, him and Brian Urlacher were like the two guys I loved watching, man. Just tear it up as a
oh yeah,
linebacker.
Urlacher too.
And Luke Kuechly. I mean, he was also a freak.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Ray
remember the
Lewis,
Luke Kuechly, Luke Kuechly, you know, whatever his name
Kuechly.
is. Yeah, Kuechly. There we go. I love the video where he talks about how he knew most of the offense's plays. Like he would know exactly where the guy's going. He would like point, say like, "Hey, screen there, sweep, sweep, sweep." And like the quarterbacks are just looking at him like, "How do you know this?
Yeah,
Like you've memorized our playbook."
super intelligent, man.
He also went to Boston College, so I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, big nerds over there.
Nerdy nerds.
Well, we got a big game in the NFL coming up, Ben.
We do.
They call it the Super Bowl,
What's that
and
again? I forget. It's some big thing where they have a big halftime show, right? I don't really know what happens between that after that, but
yeah, football is just kind of like the side
is it
activity that's
Taylor? Is it
happening.
Taylor Swift? Is it the Taylor Swift half? Oh no, wait. But they're going to show her more than the halftime show, probably. I'm
Yeah, we
sorry,
get
guys. I'm sorry. I really should not be so salty, but it really does annoy me how much she gets airtime during a football game. That's
we
just
just wanted a Creed halftime show, and we're stuck with Usher. And then, like you said, we're not even going to see the musician that they picked for
they're
most of
going to
the
show.
halftime performance. Yeah,
They're just going to
too
show
bad.
like her the whole time dancing to the music. Like, no, I want to at least let me see the music. It's like a free concert.
I'm still holding out that you guys. You don't think that just because Taylor Swift is like making a 13-hour flight from Tokyo and like just trying to like make it in time that they're not going to incorporate her
Oh,
in this
one
production in one
thousand
capacity
percent,
or another?
one
This
thousand
is
percent.
too much to pass up.
If you didn't believe in a script now in the NFL, you should totally believe in one.
If yeah, depending on how this goes, it's like you're
If
gonna
they
learn real
win,
quick.
I'm done. Like if they win, I'm done with the like
If KC wins,
I can't physically watch the NFL and
and
knowing that like oh gosh.
cements the millions of Taylor Swift fans that
And
are
they're
now
gonna
Chiefs fans as permanent NFL
and
fans.
they're also going to like totally break up after this. Like it'll be like 6 months and they're gonna be like deuces.
I think
Uh,
that's much more likely than a proposal.
there's just no way. Like you can't tell me like I hate to say this because I don't know people's lives. I don't know Travis Kelsey. I don't know, but it just seems really it was really fast, really weird, really just out there. Just
Just how
didn't seem
much the
right.
corporate media and like all
Yeah,
the
it just didn't
sponsors
it
and
felt
stuff use
very
both of them. And then it's
yeah.
like, you guys should just date because then we can make a lot of money and
Or
we'll
do you
help
feel
you
like
make a lot of money.
or do you feel it's like a TV thing where like they're dating on camera, but like actually outside of like they want nothing to do with each
Outside
other.
of that, he's
They're
never
just like
been to her
hate each other.
house and
They're
she's
just
never
like
been to his
they
house.
just
Yeah.
hate each other. They're like, I hate you, but it's like TV, they're together. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's more possible. It's like a reality TV show. I feel
Much
like
more possible. But nevertheless, Kansas City is still the betting underdog at plus
it
100
is.
going into this, just like they were the underdog against the Ravens and the
Yep.
Bills. Think it's about time I get on hammering that money line, but we'll figure it out before Sunday rolls around. Speaking of script too, Ben, did
Yep.
you see that the Chiefs have been getting to practice in the Raiders facility in Vegas while the 49ers have gotten stuck on UNLV's like wet under
It looks so
transition terrible
terrible,
field?
dude.
Yeah, that's what
It
they're practicing
it
on.
costs $450 million to build, and that's what they're practicing on. Like that's what you spent the money on. Like that's the quality of field you
That's
spent
what
the
the
money
NFL
on.
gave them. And then this morning the fire alarm goes off in their team hotel, and a lot of the team
Dude,
wasn't happy
scripted,
about
man.
it and feels like it wasn't an accident either. It's just
Dude,
these are all those
scripted, man.
small things that are going on that they're trying to make screw up the 49ers so that they don't have to control the game and officiating on a script. And it can just naturally be that the Kansas City Chiefs just were treated better and are more set to win this game. But there's going to be probably that one call that you're going to have to be watching for, right?
Dude, this is why I love college football and I hate the NFL. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, man.
I
Like
don't know
it's
why they can't just all use the Raiders facility just at different times
yeah,
of the day.
like that's what they do at like when the Ohio State played Missouri, they used the Cowboys field, like they swapped on and off
Yeah,
for
they weren't like,
protection and they
okay,
went.
Ohio State, you can go ahead and use Jerry World and all the facilities here, and then Missouri,
Missouri, you go to
here's a high school facility like 20
like
minutes down the
20
road that
minutes
you can
down the
go and
road.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't do that.
they didn't do that, right?
Fairness. Fairness. We're all about fair here. That's
Yeah,
what we're about.
it's very weird, but enough of all the
Let's
nonsense
talk
and
about the
conspiracy
game.
theories. We got to talk about this game like real football people because this isn't scripted and this is going to be the best team winning this game, no doubt about it. So
1000%, obviously. Not at all scripted.
this is the way that I'm going to go about this, Ben.
Okay.
The 49ers, I did pick them to make the Super Bowl.
You
I thought
did.
that they'd be losing to the
Yeah.
Ravens though. What I've seen from the Niners so far, they had to come back against the Green Bay Packers,
Yep.
9-win wild card Green Bay Packers. They had to come back from the 24-7 deficit against the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Kind of a young team, first time here, much more known for their offense than their defense. I don't think that the 49ers can afford to be behind by more than a score in this
Agreed.
game
Agreed.
because of what we've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen the Buffalo Bills have to play near perfect, and they're
Hmm.
still
Yeah.
kicking a field goal to try to send it to overtime as that game goes on.
Yeah.
We see the Baltimore Ravens, for one reason or another, decide not to go with their true identity of running the football, but still made too many mistakes in that game. The Kansas City
Yeah.
defense definitely did what they needed to do to go ahead and make sure that they won that game. The 49ers, to their credit, are going to be the most talented team that the Chiefs have obviously faced so far.
Mhm.
But like we've been saying, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is just
Something.
something else. And I believe if he wins this game, he passes Peyton Manning for playoff wins.
Yes, he does. Yeah, yeah.
He
And then
also
he's
will be
20 behind Tom Brady,
and then he also will be in a class of only, I think, four quarterbacks or maybe five. He'll be the fifth to win at least three Super
which
Bowls.
is crazy.
Being as young as he is, yes. But this team, like, they don't have all the weapons that the old Kansas City teams have had,
That's
but they
true.
definitely have the defense that can compete. We're gonna, I think, see a lot more pressure on Brock Purdy. We'll see if the kid can handle it. But the 49ers have been in this spot before against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and they had Jimmy G, and it wasn't Kyle
And
Shanahan in that
Kittle
game.
and Kittle
Had the
says,
lead.
"Coming back. We're coming back."
Yeah. That was a game that they 49ers did have the lead in. Pat Mahomes ended up leading the comeback,
Yep.
but Kyle Shanahan, I don't want to say, I mean, it would be interesting if it happened again, but Kyle Shanahan obviously was the coordinator that blew the
Yeah.
28-3 lead with the Falcons. And then I don't remember how large of a lead they had against the Chiefs. I think it was like two scores, though,
Yeah.
late in the game going into the fourth quarter, and they didn't win that one. But I'm not even sure if they're going to have a lead the way that they've been playing. So this could be a different type of game and maybe a different style of play calling from Kyle Shanahan. But just because of all that stuff that I said, I think that this is going to be a Kansas City victory,
Oh.
regardless if it's a script or if it's just the way that things go down in the
Yeah.
field. I think that this is just a team that you can't mess around with.
Yeah. Yeah, I get all you said. Like I really do agree. I think the 49ers have looked a little I hate to say it, like I guess you can kind of say like rusty, I guess would be the saying. Like I feel like they haven't looked clean. I don't know if you would agree with me on that. I feel like they've
Yeah.
looked a little rusty. They haven't really
They
looked
haven't
like they're
shown me
fluid.
enough that it's like if they
Yeah.
play a team that's just as good as them, I feel
Yeah.
confident that they can win.
But on the other hand, I haven't really looked at the Chiefs and said they're dominating. Like they've won, but I
And
don't
that's the
feel like
mystery. That's like
yeah,
the
that's the
mystery. How are they
mystery.
still like staying in these games and holding
Exactly.
leads when they
Because I don't feel like if you this is the key, I think. If you're the 49ers, you take out Travis Kelsey. I don't know if the receivers of the Kansas City Chiefs can truly beat you. I do not know that. I know Isaac Pacheco can, right? If you give him space, he can do some damage. I know Patrick Mahomes, like it's just hard for me to believe that this team is better than the team that beat the 49ers back in the last Super Bowl, that they played. Like to me, I think if you can somehow, like you said, don't get behind. I think they have to get a score, maybe 10-point lead, and then somehow just keep adding points here and there and control the game. Um, I'm a believer of Brock Purdy now. I really do believe he is going to be a legit elite quarterback for years to come.
has led to comebacks in
Yeah,
the playoffs.
exactly. I think the biggest thing for me is can this I know their offense is going to score points. Like if they can score against the Chiefs, I think they can score points. My worry is if you get behind Mahomes, you know how Mahomes can just he can drag these games out and he can make it a very, very long game. Um, it's been a very hard. I've been bouncing it back and forth all week, and of where do I go because I feel like the Chiefs, yeah, they have the more hot streak. I feel like they feel like they're a little more hot, but then I look at the 49ers. I'm like, dude, this team's winning with being down 20, what, 21 points, and and the defense is good when it needs to be. It needs to be that better, but I'm really like I just have this bug that maybe the world won't get shaken and shook. But I believe that the 49ers are going to somehow scratch and call their way out. I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm going to say it's going to be like a 24-21 game. Like last fourth quarter comes down to the wire, something crazy happens. But I do believe the 49ers, just because of the fact that I think Brock Purdy showed this last game, I can lead an offense and I can lead us to a victory again. I just feel like there's going to be more urgency from Shanahan and from that offensive staff to say, hey, let's go out and just put it on them. Whatever happened, use Debo Samuel in different ways, use Ayuk in different ways, use Kittle in different ways. I just think they have more weapons than what the Chiefs do. I think at the end of the day, that's going to come in a factor.
That is true, but to be fair, all the other teams the Chiefs have faced have had more weapons than them as
Oh,
well.
I agree. That's why I said I don't really know if I'm confident in this.
Yeah,
I just don't want to see a Chiefs win again. To be honest, it's like the Warriors. It
yeah,
gives me a bad taste in my mouth.
yeah. 31 and 27 is my final score prediction, by the way, with Kansas City winning.
So similar
Yeah,
points there.
yeah. I think we'll see a team get to 30 in this one. But
Over under.
the over under per
No.
Vegas
Well, I was thinking over under or something else. Over under. You think they're going to be quality? Not over under. Let's just say rating of 1 to 10. Do you think the commercials this year will be closer to a 10 or closer to a 1? What do
closer to
you
a
think?
one.
Thank you.
Closer to a one.
Appreciate it. Had a lot of people tell me they're going to be amazing this year. I'm like, we're in 2024. There is no way these commercials are going to be good because all the good commercials, if you watch them from the past, were right on the line of being really not right.
They are on a downtrend, a big
It's
downtrend.
just bad, man. Like I miss the ones with like the monkey, man. The monkey with the I don't know, I think it was like Mountain Dew or
Happy
something like that.
Monkey Baby,
Yeah, happy monkey baby.
whatever.
Happy monkey baby. Like I miss those. Like they're just so weird, but I miss it.
I saw a video on Instagram of someone talking about this isn't Super Bowl related, but just commercials during NFL games. How it's like it seemed like there's always that one commercial that appears like 5 times a game or like maybe once
Yeah,
every
yeah,
five
yeah, yeah.
commercials. 2 years ago it was the French vanilla Rocky Road chocolate peanut butter cookie dough scoop. There it is. Last year it was the Whopper, 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 double, triple, quadruple Whopper. And then this year it's the iPhone one where it's like you're breaking up with your charger in the
Oh yeah,
outlet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That one actually that actually happens over here, like on in TV, like they've translated it. I'm like, please remove that. I've seen too much of it. It's just no.
It's not, yeah, it's just not even a good
It's not a good
idea
ad.
either. Oh,
Uh,
my outlet misses my charger.
just shut
Oh,
up. I just hate it. I hate it.
yeah.
Oh, that's our Super
Yeah,
Bowl. That's our
that
Super
is a
Bowl.
that's a Super Bowl discussion.
And
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk about the commercials next week. Like maybe we'll bring up the commercials next week. Maybe we'll bring that up in the topic. But Josh, I know there were some other things you wanted to touch on today before we go for the day. I know there was a few other topics in basketball and some other things. Let us know what was on that big brain of yours.
Yeah,
That's right,
we'll
big
knock
brain.
out the rest of the football stuff at the college level.
Oh, that's
Michigan
right.
has a
Yes.
defensive coordinator. Michigan
Wink,
has a
is it
defensive
what is it?
coordinator.
What's his name?
His name is Don Martindale, but his nickname is Wink.
Wink. Who nicknames someone Wink?
I do not know,
Like, would
but
you feel comfortable if I called you Wink Burris?
it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Wink Martindale. I don't know.
Burry Burris?
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, new defensive coordinator in town in Ann Arbor.
Yes,
After the mass exodus of most
dude.
of the
He took
assistants going
everyone,
to the
man.
Chargers,
He said, "I'm
took
taking
Minner with
everyone."
him, took the strength and conditioning coach. Yeah,
D-line
so
coach. His
we've
son
got
went to Seattle.
Jay did.
Yeah, he went to Seattle.
Okay. So we've got then, yeah, Wink is in town. I like the hire personally. It's a guy that's been with
I
the
think it's a good
Baltimore
one. Yeah, I think
Ravens.
it's a good one. Yeah,
A guy that's been with the Baltimore Ravens, as we've talked. The
just the
Ravens in
connection.
Michigan have a lot of links to the Harbaugh brothers and stuff. And Wink was with the Giants the last 2 years. His first year was a nice turnaround, but last year it kind of defense fell off again. I think that was more injury related and bad offense related, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I like the hire. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think
It's
it's a
nothing that's it's nothing that's gonna like be like flashy
no,
or
but I think it's kind
intimidating,
of like a
but
no,
it's good.
I think it's like a Knowles hire where I don't think he's going to go out and recruit. I really because like Knowles doesn't really recruit. I don't think Martindale is going to go out and like on the road and recruit. I think he's brought in to run the defense, and all the assistants are going to go do the rest. Again, maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but I feel like that's kind of the hire it is. It's like, hey, you run our defense, and the coaches will take care of the recruiting. You can come on a few big ones, but that sort of thing. But that's what
Yeah.
I think, at least, that he's going to be there to run a defense and try to keep them where they were at the last few years.
And then on the topic of coordinators too, Ohio State
Don't even
might be
start with
losing one. I put a heavy emphasis on the word might.
Mhm.
The head coaching job at Boston College is obviously open after
I
Jeff
just
Hafley went to the NFL to coach with the Packers, and rumor has it that Bill O'Brien is in
yeah.
the running to be the head coach at Boston College. And the first reaction that I had to this, Ben, when I heard this news was, why would a coordinator at Ohio State leave that job to go and be a head coach at Boston College? And
True.
I was like, oh, wait a minute, that was Jeff Hafley.
Yep, it's
So
happened. They're going to screw us
happened before.
twice. They're going to screw us twice.
But
There's
Bill
more to the
O'Brien
story. There's more to the story.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien seems larger than that though. Like he's at
Yeah.
least for now a coordinator at Ohio State, has coordinated Alabama, has been a head coach at Penn State, a head coach in the NFL with the Texans. It seems like being a head coach at Boston College, especially with all the conference realignment, is a job that's well below him and one that I'd be surprised he's even entertaining.
Well, part of the reason is I don't know if you knew this, but his son, who has a I don't know, I don't know, it's autism or it's Down to I don't know, it's I know he has a illness, so I'm not gonna don't quote me on that. I don't really know the exact things, but I know that that is a big deal because they've been living in Boston, obviously, for the last few years. He's from Boston area. His son's been getting great treatment at the Boston College, but then at the same time going, yeah, but you're next to Children's Hospital in Columbus, like one of the best children's hospitals in the world. So, and a lot in the James and a lot of other places. So, it is interesting. I'll be honest, Josh, as an Ohio State fan, like I'm if he leaves, I'm not. It's not like the Jeff Hafley situation, and it's not like Brian Hartline leaving. Like this one won't hurt as much
He never really
because
got even settled in.
I know he's working right now on the. But let's be honest, he was just coming to run the offense. He wasn't going to go out and recruit. Like he was just coming in to run the offense. So to me, in the press conference, Ryan Day a few days ago said, "Hey, I'm giving up the play calling," and I believe him on this now because he did bring in a guy like him. It's going to be a lot harder, though, to fill the Bill O'Brien shoes if he does leave. It's really funny, though, that this BC job is coming down between him and Al Washington, another Ohio
Al
State guy.
Washington.
So for me, I think if you're Boston College, to me, it wouldn't make sense to get a Bill O'Brien because of his age, more or less. Like, why not get a guy that's 40 years old and can be that youthful, and a guy that used to play for Boston College? But again, if he does leave, I'm not as bummed or distraught as I would be if it was, Brian Hartline or, Knowles or anyone like that. It's a guy that he didn't really do any recruiting, really. He didn't. So it's not like we're losing guys that would follow him or so on.
For sure. We got the NBA All-Star game coming up, and
Yes.
we
It's gonna
talked
be
about
a
the
fun
starters
one.
a little while
Yes.
ago, and we know the reserves now, and I know how they do the draft and stuff, so I thought it'd be fun to, out of all the player pool, go ahead and do
Are
a
they doing the
draft and
draft
see.
this year? Or are they just doing East versus West? I thought it was just East versus West this year. I could be wrong,
Well,
but
they got the captains. LeBron and Giannis are captains, so I'm assuming they're still doing the
okay.
draft.
I couldn't remember if they were doing the draft or not.
Let's see.
Because I thought they were switching back to East versus West. I don't know if it's this year or if it's the following year, but I know
Okay,
they're switching back at some point,
let me
which
see if
made
I can find that info right now, because
which made
that's
people
news to
really
me.
happy. I think, or at least the rumors of it happening. Maybe it's not happening. Maybe I'm just dreaming, Josh. I could be dreaming. Ben does do that every once in a while to just dream of something that would be better than what.
Oh, 2024 NBA All-Star returning
Ah,
to West format. No draft. Okay.
I was right.
Look
Doesn't
at
happen
that.
often, doesn't. Dude, I've been right twice today in the episode. I'm just on a roll today, just rolling through.
Well, since we can't do a draft now because the NBA is not doing one, I'll just read off the reserves to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So out of the Eastern Conference,
Donovan Mitchell.
we've got Bam Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, Trey Young.
A good Jerry Young, I believe, was the addition, right? Because of the injury to Joel Embiid, I believe. I think he was the addition. I believe. I know he was an injury
Um,
replacement. That's all I know because everyone was
yeah,
crying,
because
crying. They were
that's
crying about how he didn't make it, and then now that he gets in as an injury
yeah,
replacement.
yeah. That was 9 reserves I named. So yeah, he's an injury replacement then. Uh, Let me go ahead over to the West now, where we've got Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns.
I think these are a good lineup. I guess it's good matchups. I don't hear anybody there that I'm like, oh, that they shouldn't be there. I feel like they did a good job. At least the fans did for the most part of getting the guys there.
Yeah, the only one that I think you could maybe make a case for might be De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, he's had a good and Sabonis. Did Sabonis make? I don't think Sabonis made it. Did he?
Sabonis wasn't on either, no.
But he also has like the second most triple doubles this year behind Jokic. Which
Yeah,
how do
leading the
you
league in
not?
rebounds.
Yeah, like how are you not? How are you not like in the All Star game being like the second in? But it is the Kings though. It's kind of like the old Cavs where like no one really wanted to vote for them.
Yeah, it's like De'Aaron Fox is third in the league in steals, and then he's 10th in the league in scoring.
I mean,
I feel like there's just
Jarrett Allen's another one on the East that I think maybe deserves a little more love than what he got, but I also biased. So I'm just glad they
maybe a
didn't put
little bit
Victor. I'm
there.
just glad they didn't put Victor Wembanyama in there. I'm just very glad. That would have just been awful. I would have just been like, why?
Well, he's averaging 20 and 10, and then he's
I
leading the league
know.
in blocks.
I get it. But it's just like when they do these like rookies that make the All-Star games because they're just like future talents, like great, put them in the futures game, which they
Put
are
him in the
in.
future, sure, because
Yeah,
there's a
like put
game
them
for
there.
that. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, futures game could be fun because you're gonna have Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren in there, and
Bunch of the G Ignite guys, which I think so stupid that you put them in there,
yeah.
but that's whatever. They're not the NBA. Stop. They haven't made it yet.
Let's talk about another basketball related topic because some people are upset that Joel Embiid was
Oh yes, yes.
getting close to that limit where he wasn't going to be playing enough games this year to
Yeah.
win the MVP. And now he's injured and out,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, possibly because he was trying to push through an injury and make sure he could win MVP. And people are mad that that rule is in place because they're like, he's literally breaking his body to try to win this MVP award because of this stupid, like, caveat that they got to it that you got to play this many games. And it's like you either shorten the season or you get rid of that. And it's like the league's always been 82 games. During the 90s, everybody was playing 82 games. And now it's like we've been for a while now in the era of load management where it's like guys are lucky to play 60 games in a season. I hate this. I think it's definitely a
This
soft
is
mentality.
this is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard people complain about in the NBA. And I'm not saying that like I mean this
Like if
honestly.
you're going to be the most
This
valuable
is
player,
so
one of the
dumb.
best abilities is to be available to
Yeah.
your team. How are you
Even
valuable to your team if you're playing half the games?
even Shaq came out and was like, no. He's like,
Yeah.
no. Like I've worked my butt off for all those years, and you're just gonna tell me that like because guys don't want to. I love how one of the it was someone podcast was like, oh, are they like they're so worried about they might stub their toe a little bit in a game that might cause them to miss action. He goes, there was dudes with their fingers broken that were playing through games like. Dude, basketball in the 80s and 90s, dude, guys that played now, even LeBron, like these dudes just miss games and it drives me nuts. Like, I get it if you've tore your ACL. Totally understandable. I understand. Tear your labrum or whatever, fine. But dudes that got like a sore, like when they say like sore knee, DNP, I'm like, seriously? A sore knee? Like, dude, you're a professional athlete and this is what your job is. I can't go to school and be like, hey, I have a migraine, Miss Liz. I can't sorry, I can't teach today. Like it did just these things just it just I'm sorry, Josh. I'm going on a rant, but I'm just saying it if you're going to be MVP, what they have in store now is fine. It's 65 games. Like that's even I think that's even gracious it should be more like 70 to 75 games. But hey, 65, I'll give it to them. But it's so dumb when I've heard people say, well, what about 50 games? I'm like, so you're going to miss 32 games of your team's games and you're going to be considered the most valuable player on your team?
Yeah, like literally a
Mind
third,
boggling.
like a third of
Mind
them.
boggling.
Oh man. Yeah, I figured we'd be on the same page as far as that goes. But
Nuts.
yeah, NBA man.
What a
Uh,
place.
what a
It's
place.
a
Yeah.
world. Oh gosh.
Just to wrap up the show and then
Yeah.
kind of like basketball, I want to touch base again. It looks like Ohio State basketball hasn't really
Sucks.
changed a whole lot. They're
Sucks.
literally doing exactly what you talked about the last time with Holtman, and they're getting all these close losses. I think the most recent ones were Indiana and who else?
They just lost to be honest, I don't remember, but I know they were up 18 points. It was Minnesota, I believe. Was it Minnesota? I think it was. I'm not sure.
Maybe it was Minnesota.
I
Yeah,
know
I'll
they
go
were up
ahead and
8 they were up 18 points.
get that up here.
Josh, 1-8 with about 7 minutes to go.
Okay, so the last one was Indiana on the 6th, and then
Yes.
Iowa on the 2nd.
Yeah, so the 6 is the one they lost by 18. They were up by 18 and lost that game. Josh,
There
this
you go.
this
Yep.
is the saddest. There are more people going to the women's Ohio State. By the way, Ohio State women's number 5 in the country. There are more people going to that game than to the college basketball. Gene Smith, I know you're about to leave soon, but at what point do you just let him go? Like I don't usually say this about a coach mid-season. I feel like it's really rude to like do that to players, but like how
Your
do you
last place
not?
in the Big Ten right now, by the
Yeah, and
way.
oh, don't even remind me. Um, it's so frustrating to go, how do you have the talent they have? Because they have some really good talent on their roster, and you can't keep an 18-point lead, Josh. Like in college basketball, you can't keep an 18-point lead.
We
It's
see 18-point leads
mind-boggling.
blowing the NBA all the time because that's just how they play. But
But
college is kind of wild.
it's just sad, man. Like I know there's a lot of high state fans hurting because it's like it annoys you. And I guess the only consolation, Josh, is the fact that the women's basketball team is so good this year. I think if they would be bad too, it
Mhm.
would just be demoralizing for High State fans.
Mm. North Carolina lost to unranked Clemson, but the week before that, we got the first win over Duke in our first meeting. So
I'm very happy
taking
for
care of
you.
business in
Very
the
happy
games that
for you,
matter.
Josh. Very happy for you, Josh. You're taking care of business in games generally. I'm very proud of you
Yeah,
guys.
18-5, ranked number
Must
three
be
right
nice.
now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we feel good
Freaking
about RJ Davis
dude,
and the way that Baycot's
I'm
playing right now.
maybe I'll just, for March Madness this year when we do our brackets, I'm just gonna fill out based on mascots. I feel like that's my luck this year. Just gonna go with that.
Based on mascots. Well, even if Ohio State did make the tournament, Ben, I don't think a Buckeye is beating many mascots out there, to be fair.
You might have a point. You might have a point. But that will be coming up though soon, Josh. So we have to get ready. We have to get our minds ready for that. Is
We have
our
to get
is our
ready.
obviously
Yeah.
March Madness special. And also our NFL draft mock drafts will hopefully be coming out. Josh and I will talk about that, and we'll hopefully have a show coming up soon that we can give our
Yeah.
mock 1.0.
After
That's
the Super
always
Bowl, we'll
correct.
know. Yeah, after the Super Bowl, we'll know the official order. And we
And then it will get screwed
at
up
this point,
with all the trades. Watch. It's just
oh yeah, so
gonna
many
crap.
trades last year,
So
unprecedented amount.
so mad. I love how we're
Yeah.
so salty about it. Like we're just like we thought we were gonna be right, but obviously not.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like Josh and I every year, like we're gonna get it this year. Never happens.
This will be
I'm
the
still
year.
gonna live on the fact that I got Sauce Gardner right. I'm just gonna still live on that fact and
Living on that
until I
fact.
die.
All right.
Until I die. But no, I before we do go, MLB spring training starts here in the next couple days, at least pitchers and catchers report. So
Heck yeah.
obviously that will be brought up about how the Guardians and Reds will be playing in the World Series this year, and the Reds will be taking that series 4-3. Wait, what did I say? Sorry, did I start early? Sorry. Um, that would be awesome though, Josh. You have to admit that'd be kind of cool. Just going between Cleveland and Cincinnati for the World Series.
Man.
That would be
Right now,
tremendous, man.
I'm just frustrated that the Kansas City Royals, who have no money, are extending their superstar players, and Cleveland, with the fourth richest owner in the league, is like, we might extend Josh
We
Naylor.
might.
We might. We'll figure it out.
We'll see if
And
I can get some change from the laundromat down the
it's,
road.
yeah, it's like
Well, then you got the
nice.
Reds who have all these young guys who we probably won't extend at all. We'll trade for some dude in like 5 years and never actually extend them because we don't want to do the. They say they don't want to do a Joey Votto situation. I'm like, It
No
was
more
your
Joey
fault
Votto
anyways.
situations.
You're the
It's
one
like,
signed him
when
to.
when a guy's 45 years old, he's not going to be as good as he was when he was 25.
Yeah, sorry.
That's usually what happens with all these 10-year contracts. It's like, okay, you're paying a guy probably for the first 5 years of it, and
But
then the
that's why if
last
you're
five, you
smart,
just gotta
you
suck it
just
up.
you lower the money. Like give them a bunch of money at the beginning and then just lower it. Like don't
Front
do
load
this
it,
whole
yeah.
like they do it the opposite way. Like why are you giving a guy who's 38 29 million? Stupid. Dumb. But we'll talk about that here in the near future. But we hope you loved this week's episode of the podcast. I hope you guys let us know in the comments what your best Super Bowl food is, because Josh and I didn't really talk about it this week, but I know I'm a nachos and cheese kind of guy. I just like a nachos and cheese. So I don't know about Josh, but that's my go-to is some nachos and cheese.
Yeah, I think we talked top five game day foods a while back, so
Yes.
Super Bowl obviously is going to be pretty similar lineup, but big on the big on the boneless wings, big on the pizza, big on the nachos. I feel like
Yeah.
those chips and dips, all
So
those
let
are
us know in the comments
staples.
below. Let us know, DM us, DM us. Let us know what your go-to Super Bowl day snacks are. Maybe it's pigs in a blanket. Who knows? But what I do know is you need to like and subscribe to the channel. Let us know that you are loving this podcast. Let us know what we should do differently, what guests we should have, those kind of things. If the Lions would have made it, maybe we would have Aaron Lynn on it. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry. I went there. But if you do love the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure you share it with friends and family. Let us know what we can do in the future. And as always, we'll talk next time.